Protect your online privacy today at expressvpn.com/inside.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Inside Gaming Daily for Thursday. One of the highlights of the PlayStation 5 reveal last week was No Knack 3. But also a new game from Insomniac Studios, Spider-Man Miles Morales.
What about Thirsty Thursday and we send our nudes out to the fans?
Or
we'll figure it out.
drink a tall iced tea.
Yeah, in the battle of next-gen consoles, it was an uppercut from Sony, a sequel to a highly regarded exclusive that you can only play on one of their machines, and it immediately established itself as one of the key selling features of the new console. I mean, what'd you expect, bro? Miles Morales.
Of course, we also saw other exclusives like Horizon Forbidden West, but that's not going to be out until next year. Spider-Man Miles Morales will launch this holiday right around the time that the PS5 does, so we'll be playing it much sooner rather than, at some distant 2021 date.
That was good.
Yep.
Get to the news already. Stop chatting. But how much of a new game is Miles Morales? Because almost immediately after the reveal, a Sony executive seemed to be lowering expectations for the game.
The roller coaster of this fucking game without any input from anyone important.
Yeah, Executive Vice President Simon Rutter said it's more of an expansion to the PS4 game and kind of a remaster too. He described it as more akin to an expansion bolted onto an upgraded version of the original title.
Very confusing, and immediately the internet exploded over it, but then Insomniac quickly weighed in and they were like, no, it's a standalone game. And they added that they'd reveal more about it at a future date.
In the far future.
The year is 2007.
My favorite takes on that, though, were the immediate backlash of, oh, okay, just because Black Lives Matter now, you made a whole new game about Miles Morales. I'm like, yeah, this game has not been in development for only a couple months, has it?
Also, in the last Spider-Man game, Spider-Man is a cop.
That's right, Spider Cop.
Hey, I'll do whatever you need with those towers on the rooftop surveilling New York. Aye, Chief. Oh, I see Waylon.
There he is. There's Waylon.
What a little stinker. He's chewing on something with his feet. Well, it looks like the date is here because the game's creative director, Brian Horton, has just shared a lot more details about what we can expect in the new game. In a blog on the PlayStation site, he tried to set the record straight about the next installment in the series.
Horton wrote that the reaction we received last week was nothing short of incredible, but we wanted to take a little bit of extra time to talk about the game and the trailer you saw and point out some things you might have missed.
Yeah, he described it as a standalone game, which he said lets players experience the rise of Miles Morales as he discovers new powers that set him apart from his mentor, Peter Parker. He said the studio have been fans of the Miles Morales character for a long time, and of course he plays a big role in the first Spider-Man game. He kind of got pushed into the mainstream too with Spider-Verse, because he's been around forever.
Don't you play as Miles in that PS2 Ultimate Spider-Man game?
Probably. I didn't play it, but probably. But they said that Miles' origin story needed its own game. Horton wrote, Miles' multicultural background reflects a more modern, diverse world, and we wanted to give players a new story with new set pieces, fresh villains, and unique quests across Marvel's New York City.
The new game is set just about a year after the first Spider-Man. It's now winter time, and New York is covered in snow, but just before Christmas break, a war between an energy corporation and a high-tech criminal army has broken out.
It sounds very Spider-Man, yeah.
When in the real world, they would almost certainly already be working together.
Yeah, exactly.
Very unrealistic.
They have no reason to not.
Yeah, you got mercenaries protecting fracking in the middle of Montana.
There's literally no incentive for those two not to work together.
In addition, Miles lives in Harlem now, and his new home is at the heart of the battle.
Is he in college?
Columbia University is where you're going to be doing most of your fights. Most of your fights won't be with villains, it will be with your own self-learning and trying to figure out what you really feel about Sylvia Plath.
You know, in a lot of ways, Zach, it's just as important as learning is unlearning.
Ooh, very cool.
But you may be wondering, how big is the game? Well, Horton said that the studio has been working on this since they wrapped up development on Marvel Spider-Man, and that game released in September of 2018, so we're getting close to 2 years now, and Horton added, you'll experience a full story arc with Miles, one that's more akin to a game like Uncharted Lost Legacy in terms of overall scope. So it doesn't really answer the question of how big is the map, but the scope of the game seems to be somewhere between a DLC and a full standalone release.
I would imagine the map is just the same one, right? But it's winter now?
I've heard things about the burrows being opened up or something.
I think I was saying that on that stream we talked about it.
That was probably where I heard it.
We are our own sources.
If it's all set on the northern end of Manhattan or whatever, they could just stretch that out and make it bigger.
Yeah, just keep going all the way up to Yonkers.
Yeah. We've added Connecticut so you can commute into the city.
And Maine. So while it's a standalone, it sounds a little closer to DLC in terms of size, maybe like a Far Cry release. Is that kind of what we're looking at here? The like weird mid Far Cry releases where they're just built on the same engine?
Was Lost Legacy $60 or was that like a $40? $40.
It's one of those, yeah. I think actually talking about it in terms of price is really a good way to look at it. This would be like a $40.
According to the site How Long to Beat, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy's main story took about 7 hours for most people to finish. But you'll remember that Uncharted: The Lost Legacy also launched as a standalone expansion to Uncharted 4, which sounds kind of like what they're aiming for in this case. There's a reason Horton specifically brought up Lost Legacy.
Maybe Sony's trying to get a couple more copies off the shelves. That still leaves a lot of questions though. Mainly, will this be a full price 60 game? Doesn't seem like it. We think it might be around 40, but Horton didn't say for sure. You know it's worth a full $60 though, but you can get for free with our promo code BLUECHEW. It's a chewable performance enhancer for men. And I'm not talking about on the track or on the football field. Maybe somewhere a little bit more fun and soft. And that's a rock solid segue for a rock solid penis.
No, I'm happy for you. That was really good.
No.
This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Let's talk about something we could all use more of right now. Sex! Yeah, if you're in quarantine right now, there's pretty much nothing else to do other than boom. So you might as well make sure it's the best it can be. And if you're having problems with that, well, I got something for you. Guys, you can now increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Listen up, BlueChew.com. It's like the blue, like the color blue, you know? Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full tummy. And since they're chewable, they work twice as fast as the pill, so you can be ready whenever the opportunity arises. Blue Chew is made in the USA. It's prescribed only by licensed physicians, so you don't have to go to the doctor or wait in line. It's even cheaper than a pharmacy, and they prepare and ship it right to you in a discreet package. No awkwardness, and you don't need to leave the house. If you could benefit from more confidence where it counts, Blue Chew is the fast and easy way to enhance your performance. Right now, we've got a special deal for our listeners. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first shipment free when you use our special promo code InsideGaming. Just pay $5 for shipping. So you can try that all for free. Blue Chew is the better, cheaper, faster choice, and we like to thank them for sponsoring this show. And remember, when you support our sponsors, you help make this show possible. So please be sure to use our promo code InsideGaming at BlueChew.com if you so choose to.
So back to the question, will the Miles Morales game be a full $60? Horton did not clarify, but we should note that Uncharted Lost Legacy was $40 when it released, like we talked about, so maybe we'll see the same thing with Spider-Man Miles Morales. It also feels like some of the assets from the first Spider-Man game will be used again, but updated for PS5 hardware.
Cool. Maybe I can high-five people twice now.
That'd be awesome.
Papa! Yeah, so Horton made sure to gush about how great the PS5 is, saying that it will show off near instant loading, ray tracing, 3D audio, and the DualSense controller. He added that they've upgraded the game's characters with 4D scans and improved skin shading for more realistic looking characters and spleen-based hair that moves far more naturally.
He also said that many of the city's assets have also been upgraded to take advantage of the new console. So yeah, it sounds like they took the base game and slapped a fresh coat of paint on it and added a new story, which I'm fine with. They used the Spider-Man PS4 game to show off the PS5 hardware for the first time, and it had like 0 loading screens. So I'm hoping they don't add on so much that it'll be like just as long of a loading screen because they had to put an extra texture on a halal cart.
He also talked a little about the OG Spider-Man Peter Parker. Horton said, many of you fans have wondered if Peter Parker's okay.
I haven't.
First of all, don't worry, it's a game. He's fine. Well, he's not fine. He doesn't exist, so it's okay. But he said, don't worry, we still have much of Peter's story left to tell, but this game is all about Miles, a critical part of our Spider-Man universe, and you don't want to miss what happens.
Yeah, honestly, it sounds like Insomniac was tasked with making a new Spider-Man game for the PS5, and this is what they had some time to make in 2 years. That's not enough time for a full-fledged AAA game, but that is enough to make a 7-hour campaign. Plus, they can always, come back and update it with DLC like they did with the first game.
Just make a longer game. It can't be that hard.
Yeah, you're right. It's not that hard. It's easy. I forgot it's easy.
Right, just flick the switch and you're rendering out the game. Make it run at half the speed.
It's that. There's a solution.
Miles, you gotta help my sister. She's in that construction site with those villains.
It's clear that Sony executives also want to clear up confusion about what the game is. Sony Interactive Entertainment President Jim Ryan told CNET that it would be a worthy follow-up to its predecessor, saying, I can safely say that we would not effectively lead the next-gen portion of the show with something that was either trivial or misleading. So, translation, we're using this game to kick off the PS5, so we are going to make sure it's good.
Sony has made Spider-Man a focal point for their PS5 PS5 marketing campaign, they used it to show off loading times, or the lack thereof, in the new machine. So it makes sense that they'd want a Spider-Man launch game for the new console, and the game does look great. The reveal trailer that they showed off last week was really impressive.
It seemed like Sony had some messaging issues, or they were trying to pass it off as a full-fledged game without actually coming out and saying so. So at the end of the day, if this is a $40 game, players will probably be fine with it. They try to sell it for $60, meh, not so much.
What's up, danger?
You're flirting with danger if you try to put that game out at $60, I tell you what.
Got him.
I don't know where else to riff from here. We did such an amazing job that we've kind of exhausted all the options. That was a good read, everybody.
I want to talk about leaks. So we had a new one pop up about the next Spider-Man game. Let's dive in. Now, this comes from the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit via user Utopian Throwaway 90. I wonder if that's their main. Probably not. Fair warning, if this stuff is true, there might be some spoilers, so if you don't want that,